1-0.
Greetings, fellow barbarians. It is I, Alan Odinson, and this is the Barbarian Lounge podcast. Well, thank you guys and gals for joining me this evening. Pretty crazy week going on. Man, you know, it seems like I say that every week. It's almost kind of this strange quickening process that's going on. I don't know if it's just the energy of the planet or whatnot, but it just seems like everything's going faster, and everything's just going crazy and wild in the process. It's a very, very interesting time to be alive. Anyone that tells you right now that things are boring, nothing's really going on, I don't know what kind of life they're living, because right now is just an amazingly crazy time to be alive. And each and every day I'm riding the whirlwind of this mad, mad world that we happen to be living in right now. Let's get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way before we get into our main portion of the show. First off, our website is thebarbarianlounge.com. Go there, check it out. We got articles, check out the shop, a couple awesome items in there, some thug cords, some tourniquets, all those sorts of things that you may need, whether you're strangling off blood because of a wound, or if you're trying to make somebody pass out. We've got what you need in our store, so check it out there. Also, I urge you while you're there to check out our donate button. There's several different options you can utilize to help support the show. One of which is once you click on that button, you have two options. One of them is a PayPal, one-time PayPal donation, just to say thanks. Maybe you want to buy me a cup of coffee. That's fine. I like coffee, so, and I drink that expensive shit, so drop a $5 in there and just say thanks, Odinson, for all the work you do. We really appreciate your hard work. I mean, if you'd like to give me something else, toss $100 in there, whatever you want to do. Hey, I'm down with that too. So, any sort of donations absolutely are appreciated. I'm just being kind of silly right now, but because it's been a wild week, guys. The other option is you can check out our Patreon account there. You'll see a link for Patreon. You click on that, it will take you to our members site, which is our Patreon site. Now, Patreon, if you become a member, basically, if you don't know how Patreon works, it's on a per show basis. And we do 4 regular shows. If you are a member on Patreon, we do 4 regular shows that you will get early ahead of everybody else. Sometimes it's a few days, sometimes maybe a week or two ahead of everybody else. But you also gain access to 4 exclusive shows per month. So it's a total of 8 shows. If you do the minimum amount, which is $1, you will actually get 8 shows for $8 a month to help support the show. And all of that stuff is drastically needed. Because, we had our hack attack earlier this year with the Barbarian Lounge. Our host site got shut down. Just recently, a couple weeks ago, we had an attack on me personally. So those funds go to help pay for extra protection to keep this site up and running. And it's just contrary to what people will tell you. You don't become a millionaire. At least I don't see that in my future. Becoming a millionaire being a podcast host. So every little bit of donations helps keep this train rolling. The easiest way to do that is just become a member, patreon.com/thebarbarianlounge. And, you get perks and benefits of becoming a member there. Also, check out our sponsors, Odinson Archery, OdinsonArchery.com, traditional bows made from non-traditional materials. The archery season just hit last week. Archery season started up. If you're ever interested in joining the Brotherhood of the Bow, it has never been more affordable than with Odinson Archery. All of your traditional archery gear can be found there. Carbon arrows, medieval style arrows, broadheads, repeating crossbows, massive amounts, different packs and everything that is just beating the competition out there by far. If you've seen some of the videos from Odinson Archery, you can even look it up online. Right, Jason Knight of Forged in Fire was just absolutely blown away by an Odinson Archery bow at last Blade Show, and you can get his testimony, the testimony of a master craftsman looking at Odinson Archery gear. So check us out, OdinsonArchery.com. Go there. Every purchase helps support the show. Also, MitaCon, MitaConUSA.com. My boy Ben Mitacon, man, I'm telling you, I have raved about it, and it is by far, definitely probably one of the best supplementation drinks I've ever taken to keep me up and running. I'm going to do my commercial voice here and read this little liner here. Mitacon, with a proper diet, supports the cell's fastest, most effective absorption of natural nutrients in each 250 milliliter bottle, and sustains the body's mitochondrial generation of usable energy, key to producing ATP, the energy-rich fuel the body needs to achieve peak athletic strength, performance, endurance, and recovery. MitoconUSA.com. Yeah, I tell you, man, it's not a gimmick in the least bit. Mitacon is one of those things that I need to help keep me focused, and recovery is a big thing. As I told you guys last week on the show, I just turned, a couple days ago, I turned 38, and people ask me, how you feeling? I'm like, well, I'm feeling old, actually. And I know that seems kind of weird, but usually I feel top notch, but I sustained a back injury earlier this week, and it's been kind of an uphill climb from then on. I had basically, if you guys have been keeping track, I had a back injury, 2 shoulder injuries, and a broken toe that I've been pushing through. So it's like I'm falling apart, but you know what? I'm still here. And no matter what comes along, Odinson is still here, and I'm still fighting it, and I'm gonna get better. That's what I do. It's all about improvement, and I'm telling you, proper supplementation is the way to go. Mitacon, it tastes good, it's easy to drink, and I know the guys, I know Ben and their other guy that's in this. He doesn't like his name put out there, so I'm not going to do it. But he's a close friend of mine. And I was there during the process of them putting this together, and they didn't go with any subpar shit. I mean, there were some things they could have got cheaper, but you know what? Those guys, they pushed and pushed and pushed and got it through, and it was a long process to get the perfect drink here. This isn't some energy drink. This isn't something that's going to make you crash. This is something that will keep you leveled up with natural energy all throughout your day. I'm telling you, Mitacon USA, check them out. Also, check us out, ucy.tv. You can check us out Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's live chat that goes on during the show. You can talk to people about the show that's going on and all that sort of thing. So I think that's all the housekeeping out of the way. As always, I got my drink here. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe you can hear that. I don't know, but keep it right here with me. Filled up with Mitacon. Keep me going. Like I said, it's been a wild week. You guys know we started off the week with the eclipse. Pretty awesome. I was lucky enough to have pretty much a front row seat. I was able to go out on my back porch and basically sit in the lawn chair and look straight up, and it was right there. It was very, very cool. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think it was going to be as awesome as it was, but it was very, very interesting. Like, it didn't get like completely dark like a lot of people thought it was going to be, but I mean, to look up and see that black sun just blazing up there was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely something that I'm glad that I took the time to check out. Really, really awesome experience. The energy in the air was just fantastic. I took the time to charge my amulets of power while I was there, and what better time, right? Something so rare, something that is such a powerful event, something that has a lot of symbolic meaning. I figured that was the best time, if any, to charge those amulets. So, very cool event to check out. But right now, there's another natural disaster that's really kicking off right now, and that's happening down there in the Gulf, right around there, New Orleans, Texas area. They're getting hit right now. I don't know if it's made landfall yet. I'm not 100%. It's probably made landfall by the time you've heard this. But they've got this massive Hurricane Harvey rolling in there, and last I heard, it was a Category 4. I think they're looking at 130 mile an hour winds, 35 plus inches of rain. And it is rolling through, and they are expecting pretty much a chaos situation down there. And that's not particularly surprising. As always, I keep track of these things. I always like to monitor these sort of events that happen. As many times throughout history, in all parts of the world, I mean, even if a hurricane happens here on the East Coast, it's always funny to me that the people on the West Coast, or I'm sorry, not the West Coast, but the right there in the Gulf region, that they don't see these things happen. And it's not like the Gulf hasn't gotten hit before, right? But they don't see these things happen and see people unprepared for them. And nobody ever goes through the process of actually getting prepared for something like this, right? I mean, it always goes down the same way. There's a run on water. There's a run on gas. There's a run on bread and all this other junk you see people running to get their hands on as fast as they can. Creates a shortage, creates chaos. I mean, I had some friends that are out in the Texas region, and they were telling me that, I mean, there's people in the parking lots fighting over water and gasoline and all these things, and bread. Just absolutely engaged in brawls. And this is pretty much how it goes down every single time a natural disaster rolls through. I mean, at what point do people say, you know, maybe we should just start buying some water to store at the house? Just a thought, right? Maybe we should have plenty of batteries just in case something happens. Just a thought. How about some storable food? Maybe so. Perhaps we should keep our gas cans somewhat full, rotate them out, use gas treatment, and make sure our cars never get below half a tank of gas. So, you know, you've got all these situations that always play out every single time, but I'll be damned, people are forever going to maintain this whole role of, I'll just wait till it gets here. It's not ever going to happen. When it does happen, you have to understand, most people aren't paying attention. Most people don't have a network set up, so they find out at the same time that everyone else finds out. And guess what happens, folks? You get the same thing that you always have. You get a run on the grocery stores. The gasoline lines are lined up. They tell you to evacuate. By the time they tell you to evacuate, what's happening? All the roads are clogged up. I mean, it's a repeating process, but for some reason, I guess people just so domesticated, I don't know, but for some reason they just can't seem to get it. I saw the same things. I've seen the same things happen here. You know, we had a couple of different flooding activities in the past few years here in South Carolina. We had the one instance where it wasn't a hurricane or anything. We just had a lot of rain. And this lot of rain, it rained for days, and it was like the end of days, man. This rain come down, and it flooded, and it turned my small town here pretty much into an island. The roads were washed out. You couldn't get out of here. And we've got one little gas station, $2 stores. Well, those things emptied out really quick. And you got people scrambling, running to the Red Cross as the Red Cross is trying to get in here to provide food. And what did me and my family do? We sat here right in the house. We ate better than those guys did. Right? Because we were prepared. We didn't need water from them. So that's the one thing a lot of people don't think about. They're like, well, you know, we got drinking water and we got this and we got that. What they fail to understand is a lot of times when this stuff starts flooding up and everything, you end up with where you can't, we end up with boil water advisories for a long time. So even if you do have water, the water's no good to drink. It does not cost you much. I'm telling you right now, Crystal Springs water is some of the best affordable water you can get. Usually you find it at your dollar stores. Dollar General, Family Dollar usually have it. Crystal Springs water, it's in a good container. You don't want your water in those milk jug containers because milk jug containers, after a while of sitting there, they will crack. Okay? These Crystal Springs jugs, man, they are solid, they don't break, and they cost you $1 a piece. So if every week you spend $5 and get 5 gallons of water, at the end of the month you've got 20 gallons of water. I mean, geez, man, you know, it's not that much. Imagine how that adds up throughout the year. I mean, it's insane that people don't do these things, but I guess it's just the nature of the times we're living in. The times we're living in right now says, you know what, everything's going to be fine. Somebody will be there to help us. We'll just wait on FEMA to show up if something happens. I asked the people in New Orleans last time what happened when waiting on FEMA. Right? You had people dying in the New Orleans Saints Stadium. You had chaos throughout the streets. I mean, it was just an absolute madhouse. Matter of fact, I traveled yesterday, went down to the beach here, and we passed a few places on the way, some little small mom and pop stores, and we stopped in there. And we stopped this one place. We were talking to the people there, and they had some heavy flooding in that area. And she was telling me, now, keep in mind, the floods we had here, we had the hurricane come through, so that was like a year ago here. And actually it's a little over a year, I think. And she said that they're still, right now, waiting on FEMA to give them, basically pay them the money for the repairs on their shop. They had the part of the ceiling, part of the roof was messed up, the whole inside of the thing was flooded, they had to restock, and FEMA's like, yeah, we'll take care of you. They're still waiting on that. She told me that there's another lady in the area who had massive flooding, flooded her entire basement, all the ductwork, the floors were right, just absolute destruction there, right? FEMA said, no problem, we'll take care of it. So FEMA sent her a check. She opens her check up, she looks at it, and they told me that her check, rather than cashing the check, she took it and she framed it and put it on the wall. So I hear this and I'm like, why the hell would you put your FEMA check that you've been waiting on to repair your house, why would you frame it and put it on the wall? Then she told me the amount of the check. FEMA judged the damages and said that it was going to cost her approximately $1.26 to fix her home. You know, her entire basement, all the ductwork needing to be replaced, the floor's starting to rot out. Yes, $1.26. Let me tell you something, FEMA. Whatever carpenter you guys work with, I want his number because I got some work for him to do, okay? I mean, if he's willing to replace all that for $1.26, let me know that guy's name, okay? It's just ridiculous. And that's what happens when you get government there. That we're from the government, we're here to help. Yeah, just exactly what sort of help you're going to get. You're going to get shit help. Okay? I'm not going to depend on any government agency to feed my family, to give me water, to repair my home. None of those things. That's not, if they do it, great, but I am not going to be the guy sitting there with my hand out. I remember when the Red Cross come into the area here, you know, my neighbor was like, hey, they got hot meals down here. They're giving them out at town hall. And I'm like, why would I go down to town hall? I got hot meals right here. Oh, you can get water. I got water. I mean, we're drinking better stuff than just water in here. We got Gatorade. We got electrolyte filled drinks we can use. I mean, we got supplements. We're good to go. We got amino acids we can drink. I mean, come on. But that's the way a lot of people are. They're just not in that mode of self-sufficiency. And that's one of the things I preach on this show continuously since episode 1. Self-sufficiency is a must. I mean, the thing is, the way I've always looked at self-sufficiency is, if at any point I have to depend on the government to take care of me, what status have I given myself? I am basically that of a slave. I am that of a pet. If for some reason the government feels like they no longer wish to take care of me, what am I going to do? You can take your average domesticated animal, and they can be in a home, they can be living with a family for, I don't know, 6 years. Then you take that same animal and toss them out on the street. See how well they do out there after they've been taken care of their entire lives. We do not ever want to put ourselves in a position of domestication. That is not the goal here on the Barbarian Lounge. We are here to reclaim that barbaric mindset, that mindset that's outside the walls, outside the societal norms, outside those things which make us like everyone else. Most of the people you see day in and day out, they're slaves. They're slaves to many different things. Some people are slaves to their jobs. Some people are slaves to the government. Some people are slaves to their own minds. Some people are slaves to their eating habits, you know, their lack of discipline, those sorts of things. There's a lot of slaves out there, and our goal is to free ourselves. We do not want chains that wear lightly. We do not want chains made of gold. We want to be free of our chains. And any time you put yourself in a position to be taken care of by a government agency, you are a slave to that system. Anytime they decide to take the food dish from you, what are you going to do? You're a domesticated pet. So all of you guys down there, I've got a lot of friends. I got a lot of people I know in the Texas region. Stay strong, brothers and sisters. That I know a lot of people around the New Orleans area too. Stay strong. You know, I know most of the people I know are self-sufficient, but you're going to have to be mindful because there's a lot of people that aren't. And those people, I always look at people that are not like me. They're outside my group, outside my tribe, outside my family. in a disaster situation, I don't care if it's Billy Bob that hangs out at the corner store and I see him every day. I say, hey, how you doing? And we shoot the shit for a couple minutes and then we leave. When a disaster happens, guess what? Billy Bob wasn't behind the doors that day, so yeah, that means he's not my friend. Okay? I'm sorry, that's the way it has to be. If anything can be learned about natural disasters and dangers of events like this, it's that those people that are outside your walls, outside your tribe, if they're not there the day before, they're not going to be allowed in the day after. Plain and simple. You know, I know some people fall into the category of charity this and charity that. And if that's what you want to do, fine. But at some point, depending on the length of the disaster, how long it takes for everything to get hashed out, the government support, the environment, the community you live in, depending on all these different factors, friend can become foe very quickly. I've always said it as, you know, what would you do to feed your family? If your child was starving, what would you do? Right? Would you take something from somebody else? Yeah, a lot of people would, rather than see their child starve to death. If you say you let your child starve to death, I question your motives. I question your parental mindset, I guess you can say. So, you know, we'll see how it plays out. I know what I've seen here, and we weren't hit nowhere near as bad as they're probably going to get hit. So, you know, it's going to be a very trying time, and I know that the world's going to be looking for Donald Trump to do something, but you know what? It doesn't really matter who's in office because the government agency that's going to be out there working, it's going to be FEMA, and it's going to be shit. I mean, well, let's just be honest. I haven't seen. I can take you to a place right now where there's tons of FEMA trailers just sitting there, never used. And they're just a big, gigantic waste of money. And as you can see, they're willing to waste money on that. But they're not willing to actually, toss out checks to help people in a meaningful way. So most of the people around here, it's kind of a country area, so a lot of people are used to just making do and doing what they can for themselves. So all you people out there in the Gulf regions, get ready to get smashed by that hurricane. The Barbarian Lounge, we raise our glasses to you and wish you a very safe passage through that which is coming towards you right now. Hail. So, next subject I want to talk about briefly is, I saw this today, and I think I talked about on the last show, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was indeed pardoned by President Donald Trump. And I would say to that, very, very good call. It is absolutely ridiculous that man was even convicted. I mean, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, what did he do wrong? Well, he was trying to actually do his job. You know, his job was to prevent illegal immigrants. Just to let you know, it's easy to tell illegal immigration, like whether people say, is that a crime or not? Well, it has the word illegal in front of it. So, you know, like narcotics, illegal narcotics, drugs, illegal drugs. You know, I would say that probably falls under it's probably pretty self-explanatory. They say undocumented. Well, what do those documents give them? Legality, right? So if they don't have documents, they're what? Illegal. So you can change all your little semantical words all you want to, but the fact of the matter is, illegal is illegal, and this man was doing his job. And the Obama administration pushed a federal judge to say, you know what, Joe, you can no longer arrest and deport these people. You know, when your leadership fails at the job of protecting this nation, when your leadership willfully goes against the ideals of this nation, when your leadership is willing to put everyone in danger just for the sake of political brownie points, that is a treasonous individual, and they should have been shot at sunrise. Plain and simple. Sheriff Joe did nothing wrong, and I applaud President Trump for giving him that pardon. You know, he could have been like Obama and give out Obama was passing out pardons like they were party invitations. I mean, he passed out these pardons to convicted felons, drug dealers, you know, because the drug dealers, they probably learned their lesson, right? Because they've got so many life skills earlier, you know, they had so many life skills that the only job they could do correctly was what? Sell drugs, right? So then they go to prison. What do? They learn to be better drug dealers and come out. And guess what? Surprise, surprise, they're going to be right back to doing what they were doing before. I mean, some of the people that get out on parole just absolutely drive me insane. You know, the whole pardon issue is one thing, but I saw this story. I've been following it here close, a local story, where we had a guy walk into a bank here in Conway, which Conway, South Carolina has become an absolute hellhole. If you're passing through there heading to Murder Beach, aka Myrtle Beach, but if you're heading to Murder Beach and you pass through Conway, you need to make it through there as quick as you can, because it is an absolute Wild West right now. But they had a guy walk into this bank and robbed the place and shot 2 ladies there, killing both of them. Come to find out, this guy he was out on parole just a few months, had been convicted of armed robbery before, aggravated assault, all these different things like that. And, he let the guy on parole. He's probably a good guy. What does he do? Go right back to doing the same shit, and he took 2 lives in the process. Absolutely ridiculous that we even house these animals. Right? Oh, they're going to be reformed. No! These people don't go to prison and come out reformed. They don't come out reformed. Half of these people that get let out, they're pieces of shit. They should be put down like rabid dogs. But either way, going back to the original thing, talking about Sheriff Joe, I'm really, really glad to see him, to see that pardon coming through. A good, strong American, a man who's out there doing his job, trying to protect this nation from the corrupt leadership out there. It's nice to see that President Trump recognized this and got that pardon put through. So congrats to you, President Trump. Congrats, Sheriff Joe. You deserve to be out and go back to doing the work of this nation. I mean, It amazes me. I remember when I initially heard that he was being, I think that they charged him with contempt or something like that. When I initially heard that, I was thinking to myself, you've got these federal judges out there. Like, I see the president will issue, the whole thing he issued on the immigration reform thing, where he was saying no more refugees from these particular countries, right? Dangerous countries. There's no denying that. People, they make all these excuses and everything about, we got to open the doors for people and everything. Now, these places, there's nothing that comes out of them but shit. Why do you think that no great culture's ever truly risen in that area? Okay? They always end up devouring themselves. These people have been in a state of eternal war for a long time now. They are the place where terrorists are coming out of. I don't care how you want to paint it, what magic little unicorn colors you use. The fact of the matter is terrorism grows out of these areas. So the president said, you know what? Not going to do that. We're not going to allow that anymore. Then you have some liberal federal judge pop up somewhere in some backwater part of the country, some occupied territory that within our empire's walls, and he says, you know what? I'm going to strike that down. Just one little jackass in a robe. And I understand why you have checks and balances in there, but the fact that one of these little guys with their own little agenda can just pop up and destroy everything that a president has, it amazes me that a federal judge has that sort of power. Just one guy can have that sort of power. I don't know. I don't think they're ever really going to get anything done as long as these liberals are infecting everything. A lot of people think that the communists are just out on the street marching with Antifa. Man, they are embedded in our system, and the communist revolution has been working for a long time to get their minions embedded in the system. And they're there. And they're there to do exactly what their initial goal was. Their initial goal is to destroy this nation and bring about a communist revolution, and they will do it. They will foment enough chaos and disorder, enough distrust in the system to the point where you've got enough people that are willing to fight. And I talked about that. If you're a member on our member show, my last show was about rules for revolutionaries from Mao Zedong's rules for revolutionaries. Very, very powerful broadcast, because I broke down exactly the playbook that's being used by the left right now. These guys don't write new books, new playbooks. They don't write them. They go with what works. The system is proven to work. So we have to understand the weapons that they're using, the mindset they're going to have going into this fight, because if we don't understand it, we're never going to be able to defeat it. And part of the plan, part of the game plan, is a very, very quiet war where they start slowly sliding their people into positions of power. One of those is the federal judge system. We've got Congress, we got people in Congress right now that fit all of the markers for communist infiltrators. We've got the colleges right now. The colleges are the propaganda arm of the communist revolution. That's where a lot of these Antifa are coming from. A lot of these people organizing this stuff, what are they? They're college professors, heads of universities. So we're going to have to be mindful of these things as they go along, because our enemies are not out in the open like we think they are. A lot of people think, me, I'm one of those people that's like, if I see the enemy, I know, like, okay, that's an enemy I can fight because I can see them. But there's a lot of hidden shit that's going on that a lot of people don't know about, and quite frankly, there's many that don't want to know about it. Ignorance is indeed bliss for a lot of people. So it's up to us to really start bringing these things out into the light. Trust me, you shine the light on them, these cockroaches will scatter. Next thing I want to talk about, Monument Mayhem. Yes, Monument Mayhem is still running wild after Charlottesville. We saw this, the absolute craziness, and it's sweeping the nation right now. And every place I'm seeing these monuments come down. As I said, I think it was last broadcast, I believe I talked about this a little bit on the members show. All of these places are what I would consider occupied territory. If you don't know what I mean by occupied territory, become a member, listen to the show. It costs you $1 per episode, $8 a month, support the show and everything. Patreon.com/the Barbarian Lounge. But these occupied territory areas, Baltimore, Durham, North Carolina, Virginia, even just go North Carolina, Virginia. If you look at like the cities and stuff where the majority of the shit's going down, it's all around colleges, right? Virginia, I said last election that Virginia was occupied territory. People are like, look, man, just because Virginia went blue does not mean that it's occupied territory. I mean, it's there's most of the people around here voted Republican, but it's all the people in the cities. It's like, okay, and that means the majority voted Democrat. So what does that mean? If you have a majority voting for something over another group, that makes them what? The controllers of that area, i.e. occupied territory. You have enough people there to influence the election, influence the votes. Yeah, maybe it is all located in the cities, but guess what? What does that tell you about your cities? You are infected. And I'm telling you, that cancer will spread. North Carolina is the same way. Charlotte, Durham, all around those areas like that. Fayetteville. Man, if you're not up in the mountains, of North Carolina, you're in liberal hell. The mountains around the Asheville area and up in those kind of what I would call the hillbilly regions up there, some good people up there. Good, strong people. But, the infection is already taken root. And I'm starting to see it creep down here, creep down south. Why do you think Myrtle Beach has become a hellhole? We've got all these transplants from up north out of hellhole cities. Chicago, New York, all these places, all these people are coming down here. They're bringing their crime, their drugs, their gangs. All of that stuff is down here. That's why Myrtle Beach is turning the Wild West. Charleston's become infected. Columbia is becoming infected, and this thing's going to start to spread. People think that I'm being alarmist here, but I'm telling you, it's like a cancer. If it doesn't get cut out, it's too late. We've already seen what people are willing to do around here. Let me tell you something. 10 years ago, even if some jackass like Dylan Roof would have went up and shot up a church, people wouldn't have pulled down the Confederate flag. They would have been like, look, you can't blame the flag for this idiot. But the massive amount of leadership, people put in high positions, these infiltrators, a lot of them are self-hating white people who are, they're not willing to stand up and say, look, this isn't about some sort of hatred. And I've told the story many times. They wanted to use that whole lie about, well, the Confederate flag's used by hate groups, so it's become a hate group symbol. Don't try and feed that shit here, because I'm the guy that sat around and watched the actual debates over that flag at the State House. I was watching them live as they happened. Many groups said, you know what, we'll concede that battle flag means that, so let us pull that down and run up the first Confederate battle flag. Let us run that up instead at the monument. If you don't know what that looks like, it kind of looks similar to the Texas state flag. Nobody would know what that is. But guess what? They said, nope, can't do that either. So it had zero to do with this flag being associated with hate. It was the whole idea. I've taught many times about the attack on rebel culture. But we're seeing this monument mayhem. It's spreading all throughout the U.S. We're seeing monuments coming down in Baltimore, occupied territory. We're seeing them coming down. Charlottesville, they covered them up before they could take them down, because you don't want those monuments looking at people funny, right? So they had to cover them up with a big giant tarp. Coming down in Kentucky, we're seeing graves desecrated. Now they're talking about taking Stone Mountain and destroying the carving in the site of Stone Mountain. I mean, just absolute insanity sweeping the nation as these monuments that have been sitting there forever have magically become public enemy number one. Because let me tell you something. I know you're trying to destroy history, but even if you manage to remove every single monument, even if you wipe the history books pretending that it never happened, I got news for you. It did happen. You can't erase history. You can try. There's always going to be people that resist you. I will be one of those people that resist you, because one of the things they failed to grasp, whatever you feel about the Civil War is not even relevant here. Your feelings have nothing to do with what happened and what didn't happen, okay? No matter what you feel, even if you think you're wrong, but even if you think that the war was all about slavery, why not keep the monuments around as a reminder of where you don't want to be again, right? Why it's important to embrace the freedom that you have. Obviously, you're wrong about your impression about the Civil War. I would urge you to do some more reading on it, and I always say it's a complex subject. It's like somebody who has no understanding of, say, quantum physics trying to read An Idiot's Guide to Quantum Physics and then explain that to a quantum physicist. It's kind of one of those things where most of them don't even understand what the hell they're reading. They can parrot some things back that they may remember, but they don't really have an understanding. That's the same way it is with the Civil War. To say it was about slavery, that is an amateur kindergarten look at exactly what was going on during those times. But Monument Mayhem, it's spreading, and it's spreading even further. I told you that after they're done with the Confederate monuments, they're coming for your founding fathers. Most of you people that are like, oh, well, I don't have any attachment to the Confederacy. I'm from up north, this and that. I don't really give a shit about it one way or another. Well, now guess what? They're coming for your precious founding fathers. They're already fussing about bringing down Thomas Jefferson. They've already destroyed Abraham Lincoln, the so-called great emancipator, right? They destroyed a Lincoln monument. Yeah, maybe they found out that Lincoln actually wanted to, in one of his addresses that you can find, he actually, his goal was not to liberate the slaves. His goal was to actually send them back. That was Lincoln's initial plan. Maybe they found that out. Oops, did I say that over the air? Oh, now you're going to have to go read a history book to see if I'm lying. So, it's funny, they're attacking everything. I saw where it's even happened overseas where they're wanting to bring down a Gandhi monument. All these things like that. We got to get rid of this racist Gandhi. It's crazy. Political correctness is sweeping the nation, and it's sweeping it right under the rug. It's absolutely disgusting. But Columbus is being attacked. Oh, Columbus murdered he was nothing but a murderer. He killed all the Native Americans. I got news flash for you. If he hadn't, you wouldn't be here right now. I know, God, that's horrible. How could you say that, Odinson? What's the truth? I don't have any feelings about this one way or another, because that's actually what happened. Just in case you're wondering, whenever another civilization comes to an area and conquers another civilization and takes their land, like has happened all throughout history, whenever that happens, that usually involves coming in and killing a lot of people. That's horrible. How could you say that? That's how it goes down. You see in the animal kingdom, if you got a lion, let's say a male lion, kills or runs off another male lion from his group, from his family, right? Let's say a male lion, a younger male lion comes in and runs off an older male lion or kills him. What does he usually do? He will go to the mate of the female mate. He will breed with her and then kill all the little babies of the other lion that he run off. Why does he do that? Because he wants to see his progeny grow. Bears do it as well. A bear will one of a bear's favorite meals is to kill cubs. They'll kill all the cubs and then they'll mate with the female because they want to see their progeny expand and grow. So it's no different. I don't hold any sort of, if you're looking for white guilt here or European guilt, whatever you want to call it, if you're looking for that here, you won't find it because I understand the way things go down. And I've said many times, if we let this communist revolution happen, there's no blame game to happen. There's no blame game towards the enemy. The enemy's doing what the enemy does. The only people that will be to blame is us because we did nothing. What if there was a revolution and only one side showed up? Well, that's called a genocide then. That's what we're looking at. When we start talking about cultural genocide, and people start thinking, oh, that's a racial thing. No. It's not a racial. The thing is you don't want to see your progeny fail. I hate to tell you, the steps are being made to do so. I saw recently where the Dixie Stampede, if you don't know what that is, it's Dolly Parton's dinner show, the Dixie Stampede, and it's a thing that involves the North and the South, and they do games and stuff, and you have a nice big meal, and it's a fun experience. They're attacking that now. Oh, how could they have this? This has been around since I was a kid, and nobody give a shit. Black, white, Hispanic, Native American, all these people go to this thing and they have fun. But see, that's not what you have in America anymore. Now we're in an eternal set of being triggered, right? Everybody's looking for a reason to be triggered. The left, they love to be triggered, and the right loves to trigger them. It's absolute ridiculousness. Texas school recently, one of their battle songs had several hymns very similar to Dixie, and they banned that, right? The reason they said they banned it was because we want to make sure that our students are going to be safe whenever they're at other places. We don't want them playing that and getting attacked. By who? The white supremacists? Aren't those the violent people, the white supremacists that go around attacking people? Maybe it's the Nazis, right? Are those the ones that go around attacking people? Right? I saw at the rally, that was who was attacking people, right? Oh, wait. Oops, I messed up. It's not them that go around attacking people. It's the same people that go around attacking everyone at these rallies. These quote-unquote peaceful rallies. Berkeley, Ferguson, Baltimore, Charlotte, Charlottesville. Wow. Seattle, Boston. It's the same people. The same people. Imagine that. There weren't white supremacists there. They were leftist. You're kidding. I know CNN's not lying to me, are they? Maybe so. Maybe so. But it's very, very interesting to see these things playing out. I've always been somebody that studied the long game. I've talked about that a lot. I've always been a fan of the long game, watching how different plays are made. And I'm telling you, if you have kept track of this and could really just go back, you would see the small, minuscule things that people didn't give a shit about that have now grown into a monster. That's how it goes down. It's like the liberal monster starts off as like a single Lego, and they keep adding little pieces at a time. It doesn't really look like anything, and then slowly but surely you can tell it's starting to form into a giant robot. And then that giant robot becomes an army of robots. And before you know it, you've got this giant hive of Lego-built multicolored robots that do not assume their gender, that are out there marching through the streets crying for all this other ridiculousness, the destruction of the very system that enables them to be able to be the people that they are. It's absolute insanity. But it is what it is. We got here. We've got here because our apathy put us in this position. I'm not somebody that blames the left for being what they are. They are what they are. The fact that they've been enabled to do what they're doing, it's still our fault because we have let them. We're all afraid of being called a name. We're afraid to be calling this, afraid to be calling that. And at some point, you just got to look at them and say enough. You know, quit bowing to these people. Quit kowtowing to them. Oh, it's okay. Well, you know, we don't want any trouble. Let's just... No, you have to fight these people. These people have to be fought. They just do. It's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. So last thing I want to talk about, something kind of a little fun. You know, most of the subject here has been somewhat serious-ish. But I want to talk about something fun. You guys know that I'm a martial artiste. And by the time some of you hear this, the fight will already be over with. And I'm interested to see how my prediction plays out. But if maybe you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor are, but they are fighting, as I'm filming this, they are fighting tomorrow. They're fighting tomorrow, Saturday, August 26th. They are fighting. It is, quote unquote, the money fight. You know, Floyd Mayweather makes a ridiculous amount of money. Every time he fights, he becomes the Forbes highest paid athlete. I think he was the highest paid athlete in, I'm trying to remember, in 2014 and 2015. No. 2013 and 2014. I think that's right. He was the highest paid athlete in 2013, 2014. That's it. Yeah. And the only times he was, I think he's been retired for 2 years. That's the only reason he wasn't the highest paid athlete for 2015, 2016. So he's set to fight tomorrow, and he'll probably be the Forbes highest paid athlete again for the year. Only fighting one time. He's going to make a ridiculous amount of money. It always amazes me how much money athletes get. Everybody's got opinions about the fight and everything. I've said from the get-go that I thought that Conor McGregor was not going to be able to beat Floyd in a boxing match. I still pretty much stand by that mindset. I've been I'm an admitted fan of Floyd Mayweather's work. I remember him as Pretty Boy Floyd. And that's before he put on the character of Money Mayweather. And it is a character. Let me just tell you that. That is not the actual individual. That is a character that he designed in order to get paid. And it worked. It's a gimmick, just like a pro wrestler. So he goes out and he does all this ridiculous shit to get attention, to cause controversy. Controversy creates talk, and when people talk about you, whether it's good or bad, you are at the top of the list, right? You are the guy that everybody wants to talk about. That's free advertisement. Remember, haters also are human billboards. So Floyd's been very good at that. Conor's the same way. Conor uses a similar shtick that's got him to the position he's in. He talked his way into this fight. All right. So you've got a guy, Conor McGregor, 0-0, no boxing experience. He's got, 20, I think he's 21-1, something like that in MMA. Only no, not 21-1. I think he might be 21-3. I don't remember Ralph hand. I know that his losses in MMA have all been by submission. He's never been KO'd or TKO'd. So, it's funny. Mayweather made a lot of fun of him about, we see you tapping out and all this stuff like that. And it's like, bro, you've never even been on the mat to roll with somebody. You've never even tried jiu-jitsu before. So you are not allowed to talk about somebody tapping out in this submission hold. He's like, real fighters don't tap out. Yeah, you do. You'll tap out or pass out. So, which would you rather do? Tap out? Or would you rather pass out and shit your pants? Because that can happen too. So I'd love to see that. But but you've got arguably the best boxer in the world stepping in there with right now probably one of the better MMA guys. Some people would say pound for pound best. I wouldn't go quite that far, but he's definitely top 5, no doubt about it, with Conor McGregor. So it's an interesting contrast in styles here. On paper, it should be an easy win for Mayweather. However, there's a few X factors in there that I noticed being a martial artist, being someone who's followed the sweet science, an MMA guy, fought MMA. I boxed and fought MMA, so I feel like I know a little bit about these things. Interesting things here. First off, one of the big things was the changing of the gloves. They went down from 10 ounce to 8 ounce. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's one step pretty much above your MMA gloves, which are 4 ounce. So Conor's going to be able to hit faster. There's going to be a little less padding, so he's going to be able to hit harder. Once you get those wraps on your hands, you basically got like a cast on your hand. Okay, I mean, you punch through a wall with those things. So that's going to be interesting. One of the big X factors coming into this is going to be weight. And I know I heard Floyd say today that weight doesn't make fights. Fighters make fights. And that is true to an extent. But you also have to acknowledge that there's a reason for weight classes. The fight is at 154 weight. Conor weighed in at 153. Floyd weighed in at 149. Now, the difference there doesn't seem like a lot, but here's the kicker. When Floyd comes in at 149, when he shows up to the fight, he's going to weigh about 149, okay? Maybe a little bit more, but not much. Due to his MMA work, when Conor comes into the fight, he's going to rehydrate, and he's going to come into that fight about 168 to 170. That's what he's going to weigh when he steps in the ring. So you're going to have a 170-pound man fighting a 150-pound man. It's 20-pound weight difference. For MMA, it's been done. You know, you can kind of say it's been done. For boxing, man, those guys have a new weight class like every 5 pounds. All right? So, I mean, I think it's about every 5 pounds. 5 to 6 pounds, somewhere around there. It's not a lot. You know, in MMA, they'll jump, 15 to 20 pounds at a time sometimes. You know, the heavyweight in MMA is 205 and up. So you could weigh 206 and fight a guy that's it's 205 to 205 to 206 to 265. So you could come in the fight weighing 207 and fight a guy 265. And that would be like legal. So huge weight jumps in MMA. Conor's used to rehydrating, so when he comes in there, he's going to be much bigger, much more powerful. He comes in there, that could be an X factor, because if he connects with his shot, it's going to be pretty bad. Mayweather, he's going to be lighter, he's going to be faster. He may be able to last longer in the long run. I don't think conditioning is going to be an issue like a lot of people think. I think Conor's going to come rough, ready, and ready to brawl. Now, one of the big X factors on Floyd's side is that you got to touch him. One of the best defensive boxers in the history of boxing. I would say the only guy I can think of that's better would be James Toney. But I mean, that's a close. Both of them use that shoulder roll style. I use it myself a lot of times, and it's very effective if you know how to use it. It's going to be very, very difficult for Conor to hit him. But it remains to be seen, because the punching style that Conor's going to come in there with, it's not a lot of people that Floyd can spar with to emulate that. And that's a big deal. There's plenty of boxers. You can find all kind of Joe generic boxers, even in the world of MMA. But you can find all those people for Conor to fight. But as far as Floyd finding somebody to fight like Conor, you're not really going to find it. You can find some maybe poor imitators, but they're not going to have the same footwork, they're not going to have the same reach, and they're certainly not going to have the same power. Stance is going to be a big deal. Even in MMA, if you look at MMA, most of your strikers they fight from a generic boxing Muay Thai type stance. Most of the time it's kind of a boxing style stance. With Conor, he fights in that sideways stance. He has a very very similar to like a Taekwondo / karate type stance. Like if you follow MMA, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson uses this as well. It allows him to cover distance very quickly. It also allows him to basically kind of leap in to fire those shots. So if Floyd is used to a guy standing in front of him and flicking jabs out, the distance is going to be different, because Conor's not going to fight in that range. He's going to fight at that long range, lunge in, get in tight, make it an ugly, rough, dirty fight, and that's going to be a problem. Because I don't think Floyd has sparred with people that fight like Conor McGregor does. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but in MMA, guys who train with a lot of different martial arts styles, where you can find martial artists similar, still people are not solving that Conor McGregor riddle. I don't know if Floyd is going to be able to do that. We'll see. That stance is very, very awkward, because with that particular stance, you've got a wide stance, you're standing very tall, it allows you to be very long, and it creates a deception of how close you are.
and allows Connor's use that very well to fade back and let punches just miss. And obviously that's what Floyd does too. But a lot of times Floyd will lean back. He'll lean way far back, with that Philly style. He'll check and lean far back. If he leans far back like that with the reach that Connor has, because he overextends his punches a lot of times and is pinpoint accurate, he's liable to still be able to touch him. And that's going to be a 170-pound man that hits like he's got an anvil in his hands. Very interesting. The other little X factor thing that I've heard from other people and seen myself on some of the Access shows, this could be some gamesmanship from Floyd, I don't know. But all I see of Connor is him training. Constantly training, working hard, training smart. What do I see from Floyd? Roller skating, doing hot yoga, which hot yoga is pretty good, riding horses, riding his bicycle down the street, going shopping. These are the sorts of things I'm seeing from Floyd. Very, very little training work. And from the inside sources, they're saying the same thing. He's not really training as hard. Floyd's 40 years old. I don't care who you are. Father Time will eventually beat us all. Connor's at 29, is primed, very, very confident in himself. I look at it almost like a Rocky Balboa, Clubber Lang thing. Clubber Lang, I think Rocky 3 is one of the best, if not the best Rocky movie that they ever had. Because there's a lot of lessons to be learned in there. Rocky was, being the Hollywood star. He was shopping. He was having fun. And, they show him doing all this stuff. Very similar to what you see with Floyd. And what was Clubber Lang doing? Clubber Lang, every time you saw him, he's fighting. He's in the gym. He's training. He's doing road work. That's Conor McGregor. I don't know. With everybody saying that it's going to be an easy fight for Floyd, Floyd's surrounded by a lot of yes men. I have to wonder whether or not he's believing this. I hope not. Because if that's the case, he may be looking at the canvas. I know people are like, the odds of that happening, they're not very high at all. I still think probably in the end that Floyd is going to be able to do enough to win this fight. But I am also understanding a lot of the X factors in there. And it would not shock me in the least bit if Conor McGregor touched him on the chin and made him fall. I really think remember what I've said a lot of times. If you listen to this show, I've said many times that being underestimated can be a valuable tool. Everybody is underestimating Conor McGregor. Thing is, you've got a 170-pound man whose claim to fame is knocking people dead in the ring. I don't care who you think you are. A punch touches you, everybody will.
JJ Inc. from Against the Wall.